Prostitution and Male Supremacy, depicted throughout the novel Dirty Work, written by Julia Bell, by Danielle Dow. Prostitution being the leading form of male-to-female repression and exploitation, starts an argument. Repression and exploitation are different, but complementary forms of control and abuse of female sexuality. Women and girls' sexuality is repressed by strict control on sexual activity through such customs as placing a premium on girls' virginity, basing family honor on the sexual control of daughters and wives, and exacting severe punishment or adultery, preventing equal access to divorce, and segregating girls and women from boys and men. The control and abuse of women's sexuality creates and maintains women's oppression all over the world. Men hold the important decision-making positions in all social, political, and religious institutions that organize and control society. Through this institutional power, men construct culture, pass laws, and enact policies that serve their interests and give themselves the power to control women and children in public and private spheres. Men's definition and control of female sexuality construction regulates women's and girls' sexual activity. Voluntary as well as involuntary violations of society's man-made rules mark women as tainted and immoral and bring dishonor to the family. Now, can the physical, social, and psychological harms of prostitution be controlled or decreased by decriminalization, regulation, or other state monitoring? In May 2003, prostitution was decriminalized in New Zealand by one vote majority of its parliament. 4 of the 5 reasons proposed for the decriminalization of prostitution in New Zealand had to do with the public health. In the law's language, these were to safeguard the human rights of sex workers, to protect sex workers from exploitation, to promote the welfare, occupational safety, and health of sex workers, and to create an environment that is conducive to public health. It is also alleged that the law would protect children from the exploitation of prostitution. On the other hand, the Canadian government initiated a proposal on December 1, 2010. The funding of $20 million will go towards the victims of prostitution, aiding them to leave and start anew. Now, on the other hand, a feminist like myself has a different view. Sex work has long been criticized and stigmatized in our society. While many members of society view sex as immoral and degrading to women, I argue that sex work is essentially just work and is not necessarily harmful to women. Under circumstances in which sex work is accepted and regulated in society, and the sex worker is protected and granted the same rights as any other laborer, sex work has the possibility to be beneficial to women. Sex work can be profitable for women, and many women may enjoy work that allows them to creatively express their sexuality. Sex work can also allow human beings a way to explore their sexual desires in ways they cannot through the current social norms of heterosexual and monogamous relationships. The sex work industry and its workers need not to be chastised by a society that clings to Puritan ideas of what is moral. I argue prostitution should be legal. Now, don't get me wrong, prostitution is profitable under many intricate circumstances. For example, the man shall not become demanding and requesting of out-of-league requirements. The woman should feel comfortable and safe, not frightened for her life. Overall, the woman should be in control, for once. Every human being has the right to make informed decisions about his or her own body, and laws that govern sex work are laws that govern an individual's right to make decisions about her own body. Sex work is illegal because it is largely viewed as immoral and degrading, but mortality is objective, and society's opinion on what is right and what is wrong is constantly shifting. Mortality provides no sound basis as a law, as people governed by laws cannot possibly all share the same moral beliefs. In the novel Dirty Work, prostitution is examined through the eyes of a confused 14-year-old girl. Hope Tasker, the main character in the novel, is swept off her feet when she meets Oksana, a once young girl forced into prostitution, soon enough brings Hope into the business by accident. The novel follows Hope and Oksana's journeys, switching from viewpoints each chapter. Prostitution is surely presented in a negative way, showing the male domination and gender roles issue. The men in the end do get held responsible and end up in jail, but the entire novel shows their journey with the girls. Midway through the novel, the main male character, watching over the girls, turns on the television and shows the girls a burlesque video, prompting them to watch video, then you practice. Chapter 8, page 9. Julia Bell, the author of Dirty Work, reveals the true trait of prostitution. In her revealing novel, she brings supremacy into a new light. Her main characters depict young females forced into prostitution against their own wills. In the novel, her own words let readers understand the viewpoints of new prostitutes. Belle allows us to understand the depths of realistic prostitution, and that's the real point of the novel. Prostitution is always glamorized and romanticized in television shows such as Criminal Minds and Law & Order SVU. Yes, those are some of my favorite television shows, but do these prostitutes actually become recognized and rewarded for their duties? Do they actually have a safe place to run when things go awry? No. And Julia Bell allows us and the readers to see the real, raw prostitute's life. A solution to prostitution? There is not one single solution that would discard of all the over-sexualization and gender rules surrounding women. Relating back to earlier, in my eyes, stopping prostitution altogether would allow female prostitutes to be stripped of their morals and their allowance to explore different pathways of life. Looking at the topics from an outsider's perspective, prostitution by a woman's right is okay, but being forced into the trade is not okay. Much stronger action needs to be taken to combat involuntary prostitution. The millions of women annually forced and coerced into lives of indentured servitude permeated with physical, sexual, and psychological abuse demand action. The young men who, through participating in and observing prostitution, are socialized into accepting the inherent assertion of the sex trade that women are objects, provide any necessary closing argument on the need to end prostitution. Doing so outweighs the right of men to pay for sex and women of the right to receive money for sex. At large, prostitution is a sexist, obstructive, and over-sexualized trade of work, leaving women stripped of their rights and consent, scarring women mentally and physically for the rest of their lives.